Every time when Mercury and Mars kind of move through Scorpio, we are reminded of this simple truth, right? Like depth brings both understanding and also responsibility. And as I speak, Mercury has already made its way into Scorpio and will also turn retrograde in Scorpio on November the 11th of 2025. And it will also re enter Libra in its retrograde motion on November 24th before returning to Scorpio on December 6th of 2025. So Mars enters Scorpio on October 2025, and this it remains there until December 6th. So, and after which it moves into Sagittarius. So the conjunction of Mercury and Mars happens exactly on November the 13th, or maybe depending on where you're living, at around 13 degrees of Scorpio. And because it takes place in the bendings or in the angles from the nodal axis, it kind of becomes a particularly potent period for matters that involve deeper and also a lot more intense areas of our life. So before we begin, I want to kind of mention a quick note, right? On Sunday, which is November 2nd, I'll be offering a 15-minute mini readings exploring the Nakshatras of the big three, basically Sun, Moon, and the Ascendant, which helps us kind of uncover a layer or a hidden pattern that can open a new perspective and bring a new sense of clarity, right? So I think it is nakshatras are a very simple way to kind of reconnect with what feels very, very authentic. And I have only 15 slots available, and the fee is $16. And also, my enrollment for the final batch of Diploma in Indian Astrology at the inaugural price of $680 will close by the end of this month. So, if you've been planning to join, I think now would be the right time. So, we'll get into Mercury and Mars, Mars and Scorpio, and we'll see what it means for us. As I mentioned, it brings a depth that kind of brings this understanding and also responsibility. So Mercury in Scorpio kind of indicates that words carry weight, and it is important to consider what we say before we say it. With Mercury moving through Scorpio, our words might feel or kind of reveal more than we intend. So, especially, because depending on how Scorpio functions in our individual charts, we may or may not be willing to share additional details about those particular topics of our life. And yet, when we try to be calculated in communication, there is still a possibility that we say may expose more than we expect or more than we intend. So this, however, is not necessarily negative. For Mercury in Scorpio allows us to communicate deeply, and even when we think we are kind of being calculative in expressing ourselves. So reminds me of Epictetus, obviously, and I also include my own understanding of Epictetus's discourses in my regular newsletter that I send. So if you are interested in that also alongside whatever astrology I communicate to you, I kind of recommend you to subscribe to my newsletter. I don't spam at all. So I send like 4 to 6 newsletters per month. So Epictetus said that nature gave us one tongue and 2 ears so that we may listen twice as we may speak, or we speak. Right. This transit reminds us that silence can reveal more than any argument ever could. And silence becomes a teacher here, basically kind of guiding us towards awareness before response, and also some kind of a reflection before we speak. So since our words carry weight, they naturally become open to scrutiny. The vulnerability increases, and also interpretation is subject to people who is actually listening. So communication itself may come under investigation, and much can be understood through intuition and also sensitivity rather than through words alone. So more importantly, talking about sensitivity and all those things, this is an exceptional period for astrologers, and also for those engaged in therapeutic or counseling professions, where understanding the tone, mood, and also emotion becomes very important to understand the truth behind what clients say, and also listening uh, carefully is very important. But this transit kind of brings something that is beyond words. Like we have to pay attention to tone and energy, and also read between the lines. Emotional intelligence is really high at this point, and it leads to a more balanced approach towards people. But it can also kind of lead to some other challenges, like we start over analyzing or overthinking matters that people tell to us. So I think it's important to kind of hit that sweet spot or middle ground. So this quality applies not just in professional settings but also in daily life, which helps us to relate more intuitively and empathetically to those people who are around us. And if our work depends on sensitivity and understanding, our effectiveness in terms of what we receive from the person who is saying, we can increase the effectiveness of our counsel or our therapy or our astrological work, or in general in daily life. If you're engaging or if you're listening to someone, I think trying to kind of be sensitive and also understand things more effectively will really help. So this is a time when depth and clarity kind of coexist, and the more we deeply listen, and the clearer we become. So naturally, it's a very good time for research, analytical activities, and matters that demand patience or precision. So Mercury in Scorpio basically allows us to engage in these kind of deeper thought process and uncover layers that previously remained unseen. So Scorpio is always about digging the unseen. Mercury in Vishaka. So we'll talk about Nakshatras. Mercury in Vishaka, right? Vishaka is ruled by Indra and Agni, that is Indra Agni, representing this unwavering focus and commitment to a particular goal. So Mercury's transit through Vishaka Nakshatra is an opportunity for us to learn with concentration and emotional steadiness. It introduces this kind of an intelligent balance between rational thought and emotional sensitivity. So the intensity with which we function during this time is exceptional, and also it encourages us to identify and correct mistakes with sharp perception, and also with precision. So be it writing or speaking or any form of reflection, we can basically see our errors and probably see it even more clearly at this point, to kind of refine them gently or correct them in a subtle manner. So if we are trying to review our work, we may notice something that feels imbalanced, or that might necessarily hurt someone or offend a particular group of people. So Mercury in Vishaka helps us recognize these nuances and modify them with care, so that our communication becomes more balanced and also considerate, right? So, and also talking about being receptive, like feedback is valuable, and accepting feedback is also very important at this point. So it kind of broadens our awareness and also helps us refine both our craft and clarity. And then on October 6th, Mercury moves into Anuradha Nakshatra, and basically kind of stays there for close to a month in its retrograde motion. It actually goes back to Vishaka as well, and then goes back even to Libra. But talking about Anuradha, Anuradha is the nakshatra of devotion, ruled by Mitra, the god of friends. It kind of naturally brings this in deep idea of sincerity and emotional connection, and Mercury's transit is uh, kind of encouraging devotion in this place to whatever Scorpio represents in our charts. And for that, we need to kind of go through individual charts, and for that, I'm always available for personal consultation sessions. And if Scorpio corresponds to the the fourth house, for example. We may feel drawn to address domestic matters or maybe studies, because fourth house is also studying, and there might be some renewed involvement in these matters. So many people associate Mercury with secrecy or guardedness. Mercury in Scorpio with secrecy or guardedness, but Mercury in Anuradha tends to do the opposite, and it upholds truth in communication, and also invites honesty even in situations that feel complex or uncomfortable. So if someone says that Mercury in Scorpio is only about deception and lie, it's wrong. So it is about honesty even in situations that basically feels very, very complex and uncomfortable. Being truthful can be our strength, and Mercury in Anuradha nakshatra is basically kind of with like mind with heart or something like that. That is pushing us towards authenticity. So it helps us find our authenticity or the true self, right? Especially during the retrograde phase, this might be even more prominent, so to speak. So it also kind of prepares the ground for Mercury's retrograde, which begins on November 11th, right? So we may rediscover old interests or return to subjects that once kind of inspired us. And Anuradha revives curiosity and devotion, helping us to reconnect with what truly matters. And when we remain sincere, such revival acts can lead to genuine fulfillment and also progress. Mercury in Jyestha nakshatra will be from December the 18th to December 28th. So, and this is after Mercury's retrograde motion, going into Libra and then coming back to Scorpio, back to Vishaka, back to Anuradha, and then back to Jyestha, which happens on December the 18th until December 28th. So it's a long way from here. I mean, technically not long from here, but still, considering where we are now, we still have some time to go there. Jyestha nakshatra is ruled by Indra. Indra is the king of gods, right? Indra, it's all about culmination and accountability. So kings have a lot of responsibility and accountability. So when Mercury enters Jyestha, it's an invitation for us to kind of accept the responsibilities of all the mercurial matters in our life. So when Mercury moves through Jyestha nakshatra after completing its retrograde motion, it becomes very suitable for the public expression and also mature communication. So it's a time where we can announce or launch something new or that's been kind of under preparation for a while. And since Jyestha nakshatra embodies this kingly quality, right, success is likely, and also it kind of carries responsibility because kings have a lot of responsibilities. It's always important to derive meanings from the deities of the nakshatras, which helps us learn the way placements in nakshatras manifest. And my intention of this video is not just to kind of convey what it is, but also kind of give some information about nakshatras, which helps or aids in learning as well if you're new to the nakshatras. So whatever begins under this influence will require sustained attention and also kind of quality quality and also detail, like attention to detail and all those things. So Mercury in Jyestha nakshatra, basically helps us complete what we started with Vishaka. Vishaka helped us to kind of have this focus, unwavering focus. The focus of Vishaka, the sincerity and devotion of Anuradha, and the insight gained through this retrograde process or motion of Mercury is now coming together as Mercury is in Jyestha, and it is the time for us to kind of speak and act with clarity and purpose, where we combine wisdom with accountability. Wisdom not just from the last 20 days or something, but whatever wisdom that we have, we kind of combine that with responsibility and accountability. So clarity in our expression and depth in our intention is really important with Mercury in Jyestha. So I think that pretty much sums up Mercury in Jyestha nakshatra. So, what begins with unwavering focus moves to devotion and attachment to what we do, and then culminates in action. Right. So, talking about Mars and Scorpio, Mars gains domicile strength in Scorpio. Mars is very, very strong in Scorpio, but it's not the Mars in Aries in Scorpio. It's a different kind of strength, right? Mars in Scorpio reveals truth, the deeper truth, and also intensifies emotional focus. So we are dealing with truth that hurt before they heal, and truth heals. The Martian truth in Scorpio is part of the healing process. So, but also it comes with some hurt. But what begins as a discomfort often ends as clarity. And as I mentioned, Mars in Scorpio, unlike Mars in Aries, has some different manifestations and expressions, and naturally so. Unlike Mars in Aries, which acts very outwardly, Mars in Scorpio kind of channels strength inwards. And that's the speciality of Mars in Scorpio. Like, it's not about open battle, but it is about mastering the energy that kind of hides under the surface or something like that. Going back to Bhagavad Gita reminds us that for someone who has conquered the mind, the mind is always the best friend. But for the one who has failed to do so, the mind will remain the greatest enemy or something like that. So Mars and Scorpio embodies this idea, right? Victory lies not in external confrontation, but in inner control, pretty much in alignment with Stoic ideas. So strength born from discipline and also awareness is Mars in Scorpio. With Mars being very, very powerful in Scorpio, we have this quiet determination that keeps growing, and we're also kind of moved by purpose, not impulse. Mars can also indicate impulsiveness, but Mars in Scorpio is about kind of having this attention to purpose, not necessarily impulse. And Mars here rewards consistency, right? So the steady work rather than quick gains. That could sometimes, quick gains can sometimes feel superficial, but Mars in Scorpio is not about that. It's slow, determined process. Slow in the sense, not in the Saturnian slow. What is slow for Mars, right? If pain or some kind of disappointment has been holding us back, this is the period that kind of supports transformation, but transformation occurs through action, right? So Mars in Scorpio allows us to convert pain into purpose and restore faith in our own endurance. Again, Nakshatras insight. So Mars in Vishaka Nakshatra, which is from October the 25th to October 30th. So Mars enters Scorpio while it is in Vishaka Nakshatra. So Vishaka focuses like Mars's power towards this single pointed action, because Vishaka indicates unwavering focus. So Mars in Scorpio propels us to kind of act towards one particular thing, and it helps us decide what truly matters and what must be released as well. So Mars is in the sign of transformation, so release is also part of the process, ruled by this Indra and Agni, that is Indragni, the destroyers of darkness according to the Vedas. So Vishaka supports courage in clearing inner or outer blocks. So the steps we take now is how we kind of move through the remainder of the year, right? And also like Mars enters Anuradha, that is from October the 31st to November 17th. And when Mars enters Anuradha, which is the nakshatra of devotion and loyalty, its strength kind of turns into some kind of a steadiness, right? So it's coupled with strength and steadiness. So the courage that was fierce in Vishaka now becomes slightly softer with this touch of faith, right? So we may feel this deeper trust in terms of what we are doing, and also in those who support us in the process. So Mars also represents siblings, right? So this is the time where we may have to offer help and also sometimes accept it, right? So and emotional courage grows through mutual support. So we show support and we also gain support from someone. So siblings could be the source for that, right? So, and even when we face disappointment or betrayal, Mars in Anuradha kind of helps us have this composure, but there is this slight element of anger. As the dust settles from whatever has happened, within a few hours, anger will go. And that is because of this natural devotion that Anuradha Nakshatra brings. So the soft nature kind of takes over. So in Hobbit, again, I always love to go back to Lord of the Rings and Hobbit and J.R.R. Tolkien. So in Hobbit, when Bilbo Baggins had this chance to kill Gollum in the Goblin tunnels, he did not kill Gollum. So, and he was reminded of whatever Gandalf had said. The company of Thorin Oakenshield found this sword, under the tunnels or caves or somewhere. And Gandalf told him that true courage is about knowing not when to take a life, but when to spare one. Right. And this is so profound, and it kind of helps me understand Mars in Anuradha. So Mars in Anuradha carries that similar spirit, the strength to act with conscience rather than impulse, and that is where victory lies, right? Choosing peace over retaliation, and it could be a collective peace and also your own peace. But this is not weakness, and it is really mastery. So the ability to hold silence when provoked and move forward with focus defines strength. That takes us to Mars into Jyestha Nakshatra from November the 17th to December 5th. When Mars moves into Jyestha, there is always ambition, right? So we want to accomplish something that feels significant, because kings want to achieve something significant that everyone that is praiseworthy, basically, because Jyestha is ruled by Indra, and Indra is the king of gods. So we like extravagance with Mars in Jyestha. So, but it's also about mindfulness, right? So Jyestha can bring sometimes it can bring comparison or overcommitment, and being aware of limits helps us understand that we could be strained later on because of any kind of overpromise that we may do. So we need to handle this phase really well so that it can be rewarding. So Mars in Jyestha strengthens concentration and also accountability. And concentration is the result of what we did during Mars and Vishaka, and it helps in sustenance. So it's a time where we consolidate what we began earlier to kind of complete or to refine, and also to kind of lead responsibly in terms of where we are moving ahead. So Mars in Scorpio is it's ultimately a journey of endurance and quiet transformation, where the path changes from revelation to rebuilding. So it begins with honesty in Vishaka, and penetrates deeper through devotion in Anuradha, and culminates with accountability and responsibility in Jyestha. So if we use this period consciously, we really have an opportunity to emerge stronger and much more calmer, and also more centered in our approach and also purpose in terms of where we are headed, which takes us through to Mercury and Mars conjunction. Mercury and Mars come together on November the 13th, and that happens after Mercury turns retrograde in Scorpio, which happens on November the 11th. So this union is very brief, very short, but it is very powerful, because speech carries impact at this point, because Mercury is in Scorpio, and it must be used very carefully. So we need to be aware in terms of how we express ourselves, and also sometimes silence accomplishes more than confrontation. So people usually know when they've made a mistake, and reminding them kind of serves very, very little purpose. So this is a time for us to preserve focus and channelize energy to our own work rather than kind of trying to correct others, or that's not going to work, and there is also no point in doing that. Instead, we can be productive, and it kind of sharpens thought and decision making process, and gives precision to planning, and it's about kind of, if you're a writer especially, or if you're a speaker, I think it can help in attaining clarity and conviction, and also kind of strategize in terms of what we are doing. Because Mercury will be retrograde during this period, I think mistakes may occur, but retrogression, it's obviously an invitation to refine, reorganize, or review what we are doing, and also reassess. So Mars in its domicile, or that is in its own sign, provides this drive to correct and move forward with confidence. So avoiding emotionally charged debates and impulsive commitments, or making promises that we cannot keep, is better. Like, trying to avoid all those is always better during this time. And the strength of this alignment, or this configuration of Mercury and Mars, is basically aiming restraint and clarity, and it comes through ability to channel our energy, not to explode it, right? So we need to kind of remain balanced, and this conjunction is going to kind of become a moment of some kind of a renewal, and we need to kind of ground ourselves in silence, trying to act with focus, and also speaking with clarity. I'm pretty sure we can complete this year with very, very quiet strength. So Mercury and Mars in Scorpio is an opportunity for us to look inward and not necessarily outward. So for that, being aware and speaking with awareness and acting with integrity, and also kind of valuing silence as an expression itself is very, very valuable. And all this kind of enable us to transform intensity into insight. So depth is all about understanding who we are. So try to utilize that depth we get here, and clarity helps us understand the way we need to express ourselves, and strength is necessary to sustain what we are probably doing, and that is also gained because of this particular configuration in Scorpio. And silence is one of the powerful tools that we can use during this period, and focus protects all this. So the 5 keywords would be depth, clarity, strength, silence, and focus. With that, I will leave you here, and I'll see you in another video.